Let's skip intro and get into the video. One physical thing that wealthy people have in common is that they have nothing in common. They could be white, black, tall, short, fat, or thin. Money is not reserved for a select minority. Wealth can be yours, but it begins with challenging your perceptions of money and the wealthy. What are your money beliefs? What is money to you? What does wealth mean to you? Set money goals, believe they are achievable, and prepare to work towards achieving them. Money begins in the mind. And the rich know this. That is why they outline these rules for their children to follow, creating generational wealth. Lucky you, since you can copy them and be rich, thanks to this video. So, be sure to subscribe. Rule 1. Money is an exchange of value. All money we make or give out basically details down to an exchange of value. You give value to someone, providing them with a product or service, and they tell you how much it's worth to them by paying for it. Imagine if you were to hire a new person for your company. If you knew that they could add you an extra $200,000 worth of profit this year, and that new person's salary would cost you only $80,000, wouldn't you probably hire them? However, value isn't always a direct exchange like this. If you hire a marketing expert who gives you more exposure and greatly increased your company's visibility, it would be an investment in your brand that won't have immediate financial turnover. But you can expect it to eventually. As you go through your life, you will be compensated for the value you bring to people. When you make money by working at your job or business, it's a value you are creating for your employer or customers. You are earning in exchange for providing this value. If you want to make $1 million in X amount of time, ask yourself how to create a value worth $1 million in X amount of time. Don't think in terms of how you can get $1 million in currency notes. When you stop thinking about currency notes or adding a few extra zeros to your net worth, you will automatically stop thinking about lottery, gambling and penny stock, for example. In these examples you do nothing but gamble. You may make money, you may lose money. During my early days of investing, I often pondered buying penny stocks, which would grow into a giant corporation rendering me a couple $1 million in profit. That was just ridiculous thinking on my part. It only happens in dreams and to filthy lucky ones in real life. People do win lotteries, people do inherit estates, and there are claims of making huge sums in stock market gambling as well. They are one-off cases, not sustainable. Even if you win a lottery, you can't repeat the feat again. We shouldn't waste our time waiting for a windfall. As simple as it sounds, to make $1,000, you need to create value of $1,000. That's the easiest way of making money and becoming rich that I know of. Rule 2. Scale up and serve many people. The more people you impact, the more money you will make. It's not a perfect science, but if you can scale the value you offer to people, you'll make a lot. I love personal finance, and I followed all the gurus. Dave Ramsey, Grant Cardone, and David Bach were my favorites. I digested their wealth principles and tried to implement them in my own life. I still think they have lots of interesting ideas. But I finally realized something. None of these financial gurus got rich from following their own rules of money, from putting aside portions of their paycheck every week, or from paying down debt fast. They got rich because they impacted millions of people with their ideas, and their books and seminars have sold around the world. While their advice may work for some, the financial gurus didn't get rich from following their own teachings. Instead, they massively leveraged their value and impact by reaching the masses. It's not that these strategies don't work at all. But if you're 35 years old and have $100,000 in student debt, saving $45 a week in mutual funds, that isn't going to make you wealthy. You've got to play some catch-up. And what better way to catch up than to leverage your tremendous education, brainpower, and ideas into something that can influence lots of people? Build a platform. Create products. Get vocal and be noticed. Then find a way to make money off it. That's scale. Serve as many people as possible. Rule 3. Change your mindset on making money. I was raised to think, there's never enough money, and we'd scrape by on what we had, going without most things in the process. Furthermore, as religious people, my parents would moralize our poverty. We were content with what we had, implying that desiring more would be sinful. We knew that the love of money was the root of all evil, and God provides what we need. Since nearly everyone in my town was poor, the rules of money I learned from my blue-collar peers to hate the rich, who owned the mines or the mills, and usually lived far away in Toronto. Then, when I finally broke free of my impoverished past and went to university, I learned from professors that the rich were exploitative and lived off the poverty of others. Is it any wonder I was terrified of wealth, and associated it with all sorts of moral and societal evils? I was trained to hate it, to think implicitly, I don't want it. Ironically, the many people who harped on the wealth in my hometown still seemed able to cough up $40 a week for lottery tickets. I was fortunate along my journey to meet some wealthy people. I realized something about them pretty quickly. They weren't greedy or evil. In fact, they were some of the most generous people I'd ever met. They made their money running businesses that employed people, putting food on the tables of dozens of families that wouldn't be there if they hadn't started their business. I knew one wealthy couple who on several occasions donated thousands of dollars to families in need in our community. The couple never told me this. The benefiting family accidentally let it slip one day. Wealthy people, in fact, drastically repositioned my own understanding of wealth. I came to realize that wealth doesn't make you good or bad. It makes you a bigger version of who you already are. People who are assholes become wealthy assholes. People who are generous become wealthy and generous. If you are filled with goodness and kindness, money amplifies your ability to be kind. Your beliefs about money will dictate your relationship towards it. If you believe, even subconsciously, that having money makes you bad, or greedy, or is unspiritual, it's not much of a surprise that you will live in poverty. You'll sabotage your own financial success to get back to that place. If you believe that you're a good person and that money could both give you a great life and amplify your goodness, you will likely begin to acquire some. It's one of the most important rules of money I never learned. For those of us who were raised poor, this mental shift is not easy. It's difficult to deprogram all the money mindset you've learned over the years. But it can be done. Read money books. Get around wealthy people you admire, either in person or online. Try to identify where your beliefs about money came from. Ask yourself why you have them and if they're serving you well. And start to change them. Rule 4. Do not exchange your time for money. There's something the working class doesn't understand about money. No wonder it's one of the rules of money I never heard growing up. I think the middle class barely even understand it. As long as time and money are tied together, your income will be limited. Growing up in a working class town, we understood money in units of hours. If someone wanted to express to you just how rich someone was, they would give you their value in time. John makes $100 per hour, while James makes $60 per hour. These people were the inconceivably rich ones. Truly wealthy people learn to separate their time from money. They build systems, machines, that earn them money when not working. Whether you like him or not, when you buy something on Amazon, Jeff Bezos gets money. Let that sink in. Yes, it's obscene that he's so wealthy, but you and I made him that rich. And the company doesn't pay taxes, which is a different story. The person who owns the coffee shop down the street from you makes money when you buy coffee there, whether they're in the building or on the beach. Inventors who license their patents make money when a company sells their product. The internet has birthed a whole new generation of people who can separate time from money. YouTube stars, Instagram influencers, Twitter thought leaders, LinkedIn voices, as long as their platforms are monetized in some way, through selling products, marketing for affiliates, or advertising, they are making money regardless of whether they're awake or sleeping.